What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 29 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Mannfred von Carstein Mortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Bathilda von Sinclair, our legendary community canon lord, continues to be a menace to the orcs. She started as a menace to the orcs and she continues to be a menace to the orcs, casting Azag from the skies and obliterating his army by running them all over. The faction, by the looks of it, is actually pretty much broken. They want peace, but that's not going to happen. Bathilda will do the same to the rest of their territories as she did to Azag himself. Now, the bigger, more important part of this intro, I guess, is that we are moving towards the end of the campaign. I'd say 1 to 3 episodes remaining after this one, depending on how quickly we can do things. So that does mean a little bit of a change in the way that we're doing the things that are remaining. First of all, it will mean we will cease the advance further in several locations and just try to focus on a few final battles for various armies where we can get them, as well as the obviously critical objectives being the White Tower of Hoeth and the book therein, the random book that's in the sea, and then of course Nagashazar for Mannfred, which, well, he's been heading towards for a while now, not getting XP. He probably could have been level 50 by now, but well, whatever. Anyway, those are the goals and we'll head towards them. We will also now, I guess, stop moving the tech thieves, and as they're no longer going to be needed. And besides, while not quite complete in terms of tech, we have most of the critical stuff anyway, so that should speed up turns fairly considerably. Now, since we're starting off in that manner, we're going to do this slightly differently. We will start off by talking to Kislev, and they don't like us very much, but I think that's about to change. We'll join war against the Challengers of Khorne, War Host of the Apocalypse, Ecstatic Legions, and World Walkers, and then vassalize Kislev instead. Now, that might sound like it's causing more wars here, but it will create a big old buffer zone in Kislev, and if we want to fight in their territory, we can do so without putting any of our own territories in danger. Plus, they should last us as enough of a bulwark until the end of the campaign, I'd wager. So that's what we're going to do. And do that, and that instantly switches their relationship with us. And, ooh, Archie is right here. Hello. What do we have here? Let me just take a quick gander. I do see a full stack here. Archie is beside Castalton, though I fear Castalton's army is too weak to survive this, especially if Archie attacks him with 2 full stacks at the same time. But we can move in to reinforce with various stacks ourselves if it's needed. Astrogoth is probably not one we're going to bother with fighting right now, so we're going to peace out with him rather than advancing further up north, as there just isn't any need, and his faction is also incredibly weak. So he's just not worth our time, and yes, that is intended to be insulting. So we'll do that. Then we will fight these guys, mostly because I want Wilmar to have a nice final battle, especially since he now has his zombie dragons and wants to play with them a little bit. Is there anything else that's super critical in terms of talking right now? We could, funnily enough, even though our vampiric friends probably won't like it too much, we could, more likely than not, actually vassalize Lewin together with Kislev and then destroy the regular empire, which I would find somewhat entertaining. I'll think about it, though. We'd have to give them Gisoro, which is a complete territory. And it's not like they have armies or anything, which is making me think that it's just not worth it trying to hunt down those weaklings, but we'll see where the Red Duke ends up towards the end. Anyway, let's start everybody moving, at least everybody who still needs to move. Gustav Grigorovich, you will auto-resolve the Dusk Peaks right here in, I guess, regular stance. I imagine it should be auto-resolvable. Yes, indeed it is. That'll resolve that. A little bit of damage, but not so much that it matters, and we'll occupy the place, and then you can just sit here and go into Repressed Mortals, and then delete those. We'll be building some defensive structures there as well. Power Stone, enemy killed in battle. Mission successful for the followers of Nagash, just swell. And by and large, we can probably ignore the lizards, depending on whether we are looking to get a final fight for any of the other armies that are near. Frederick von Karlsbruck, you still have a long way to travel, my friends. Sit in Dawn's light for the turn and then keep on heading to Lustria. We'll see if you can reach there before the end of the campaign. Helman Gorst, you were attacking Goldtooth, but by and large, the ogres are pretty much, well, pretty much no longer a threat. So Gorsty, we're going to start moving you down here. We are not going to peace out with Gelt because he's taken some territory from our western provinces, Cathan friends, and we'd like to trade them right back to them. You two, however, can advance this way. So you, right here, Mukil, and Nozert, you can go near and then stay in march stance, and then you, or ambush stance rather, and then you two together can push towards the Maw Gate, like so. Alrighty, Elvira, okay wait, I stopped doing things out of order, or in order. Started doing things out of order. Mukil, a recruiter, which recruiter are you? Oh right, you were looking to pick up another Blood Knight, were you not? Wallach is missing one? Yeah, he is missing one Blood Knight. Alright, so somebody please find us a Blood Knight. Not yet, eh? I'm gonna get him a Mortis Engine if we feel like it.
What?
Probably better than using a Corpse Cart, especially since we're not really using Corpse Carts in this particular army. I'd like to bring him that unit with, let me just see here. You are here. Try out here in Resetra. I really would like that vampire. The Blood Knights, and no Blood Knights here either. Damn it, alright, fine. Just stick around and wait. And then Recruiter, you can keep on heading up north. And there should be another big old dead pile somewhere around here. I think it's Lamia. In fact, there might be several. Anyway, you can just keep looking for those. Find another Blood Knight if you can, and if you can't, well, frankly, I'm sure Wallach can handle himself either way. Herman Wolfdrake, you were going to get another army type, but frankly, it's probably no longer needed at this point, as what we were going to do with you was kind of Morngul heavy anyway, and Ludwig is pretty Morngul heavy himself, admittedly. So just sit there for now. Heinrich Kemmler, you, sir, are going to ignore the rats, and you have to go to the White Tower of Choeth, and it looks like the fastest way to go there would be around like this, which I guess it would be. By the sea. I'm just checking if it might be faster to go like this around. No, I don't think it is. Alright, Kem. March stance, head out to sea, and then go for the White Tower of Choeth. That's going to be your job. Now, you are missing one unit, but just keep the one unit of Spirit Hosts there, as who knows when we'd be able to get you another Mortis Engine or whatever. Or a Vampire. There's potential for that as well, instead of the Spirit Host. I'll think about it. Zacharias Lichberg, you can just sit, I guess, in Verdanos, and you can just sit there permanently. I don't think these rats have a prayer in terms of taking any of our territories, so by the looks of it, we can pretty much ignore them. Alright, Kem was the one that moved, and of course, the Lords and Heroes tab reset itself. Wallach, you are going to pick up this island real quick, and then you are going to move towards Guilt. Approach the carcass, auto-resolve. Damage to the White King, but nobody else. That's kind of interesting. Wasn't expecting that. We don't really need the money anymore, so we'll just dominate captives and make sure that we're full HP while we get where we need to be. And a Warlock for Wallach, as well as a Razor Standard. Do you have a Razor Standard? You do. Oh, yeah. Good for you. Alright, now you will go here. We're going to ignore this elf faction and instead head towards Balthazar Gelt, mostly because these guys aren't really worth fighting. Their major stack is just archers and and it's not even a full stack, so we've seen that Gelt has multiple full stacks running around, and we are still at war with him, so there is that. Plus, it's only appropriate that we that we're attacking Gelt as a Manny. The other thing that I wanted to try to do here is this. I don't know whether this is going to work out or not, but I'd like to try it. So Kragroth Deep is currently held by Kotep. What we're going to do is we're going to declare war on him, like so. Do we need to ask our friends to declare war on him? Maybe. Hopefully they won't say no. No, they won't say no. Alright. Alright, and then we're going to use Hikenorus, who has one more turn before he is destroyed, or he returns back to his original faction. We're going to use him to occupy this territory, like so. And do we take it at tier 2? We do take it at tier 2. Then, what I would like to see is how much it's worth to you guys. Kragroth Deep is worth nothing. Okay, it's worth nothing because nothing is built there yet. So we're going to take the one turn to build the barrow and to build... I don't really know which one. It doesn't really matter. I hope it doesn't matter because that's what we'll do. And we should be safe from this army. And then hopefully what'll happen is we can transfer Kragroth deep to Naggarond for their vassalage as well, because the idea amuses me greatly, before these guys come to reclaim it. Of course, that'll probably put these guys in a little bit of trouble, admittedly, because they'll have to fight the Exiles of Nehekor, the third strongest faction on the map, but we shall see. Not like Mannfred would care about that. That's their problem. Alright, Elvira, alright, you were the next one to move anyway, and I do believe you actually have a battle at hand. I assume that you can reach just barely Mr. Zardrak Ubran. And I'd love to see the living army take on what we have here. Ooh, they have a Death Shrieker. It's a little bit concerning. Pyrrhic Victory casualties. We have Dreadquake available to the enemy, as well as a couple of uses of Wrath of Jar. The Death Shrieker is going to be the bigger issue, but hopefully we can outshoot it with the Grand Cannon. Though that does remain to be seen, because it has 40% fire resistance, and unfortunately for us, the cannon does fire damage. Anyway, Elvira, living army, let's see what you got. Alrighty, here we go. I think this should be a pretty darn interesting fight for Elvira here. The heavily armored nature of the Chaos Dwarfs and the fact that we're outnumbered, which means, well, generally this army is not supposed to be outnumbered, it's supposed to fight essentially one-on-one. It means we'll struggle a little bit. The Lamian border mercenaries are non-armor piercing in melee. Even if they are armor piercing in range, we will most likely get overwhelmed rather quickly, and then they'll have a difficult time fighting the Chaos Dwarfs in melee. And of course, the emergency rations, the Deadshot, and the other crossbows, their missile strength is largely non-armor piercing as well, and the anti-large won't help us in this particular situation either. And it also looks like the enemy is activating their abilities. Wrath of Jar comes down, and we are going to get hit with the first of the Dreadquakes. These are, well, very, very nasty, especially for these units, because we can't raise them from the dead, or actually, well... we could just raise a unit of zombies to replace them, but yeah, this is our living army, and we're going to have to deal. Looks like about 50 units lost, a fairly decent amount, and about 60% of the HP gone from that unit. But for a single Dreadquake, that's not horrible. At least only a single unit gone, and the rest of them are fine, and our formation is reasonably decent up on this hill. Though I'd wager we probably won't get too much mileage out of our cannons in this particular battle due to, once again, their fire-damaging nature. Anyway, the enemy lord. We were fighting the enemy lord with Elvira there, but it was taking way too long, surprisingly too long. Guess it's just because he's a smaller target and it's having, you know, that issue with when you're attacking him on foot. So we'll lift off a little bit and gut him down a teensy bit with our ogres, who are also, frankly, accuracy-wise, not doing so great. Funnily enough, if we were near to our... here, one second. If we were near to our Sky Lantern, it provides a 20 accuracy in area, and our drum, at least in the other form, in the Disdain of the Dragon Emperor, also provides a plus 10 accuracy. So being near to those things would have given us 30 accuracy bonus. So that might have been helpful there. But anyway, we'll just move on in and see what we can do here. And might be faster to just kill this guy the old-fashioned way rather than bothering with gunning him down, which is what we might usually do. He's too small a target, I guess, for the ogres. Actually, funny thing about the ogre man pistols, the man-eaters with ogre pistols, if we read their thing, the lurid trophies of their many distant conflicts ensure that no two of these wandering mercenaries are armed the same way. And this is one of those units that is always armed exactly the same way, which I just find it amusing, because there are lots of units where there's a variant even within the same unit. You know, some units carry clubs, some units carry other weapons. These guys, every single one has the exact same 2 weapons, despite what their blurb says. Anyway, while we probably won't get too much mileage out of all that anti-large and range fire, generally speaking, the enemy foolishly sends a Toruk in by itself, and that means this thing's gonna eat a lot of crossbow and a lot of pistol fire, and from our Lamian border mercenaries and our regular crossbows is certainly enough even without the ogres firing. The rest of the enemy army is now moving in. We're going to try our darndest to focus down the enemy blunderbusses first and then everything else later because, well, a couple of volleys from those blunderbusses and it's not going to be great. Not entirely sure where this one unit is moving as it almost seems like they're trying to charge this portion of our army. Not entirely sure why that is, but that's fine. I guess we'll take advantage and start moving our left flank in to surround them if they want to attack our right flank for some reason. Sometimes the AI does this. Actually, I have no idea why the AI does this, but we can see they went after our right flank, and in this portion of the army looks like they're trying to go after the units that are around the overseer. I think the sort of general orders from the for the reinforcements from the AI is to reinforce the army that is getting attacked, which in this particular case was that one lord. Anyway, looks like the enemy artillery is having not such a great time, both due to our own artillery fire and just to help them out a little bit, a few shots from our ogres or man-eaters with ogre pistols. The ogre pistols do take a single volley from an enemy blunderbuss and immediately lose 30% of their HP, so that means we can't be fighting in a melee. And I always like to say not to get sort of stuck or trapped in the thought process that the ogres need to be used in range. They are very, very decent in melee, and there are a lot of situations where these particular ogres are better off fighting in melee rather than in range, because here in particular they have a lot more armor piercing against those Chaos Dwarfs than our Lamian border mercs do. Unfortunately, though, they do stand tall, and that means they will get hit with those blunderbusses. We've got magical artillery to back us up, and a nice penumbral pendulum will hopefully mow down at least a few of those Chaos Dwarfs. Maybe they got the big hats so that they could be sort of spotted over the laborers. Certainly, I thought. Anyway, Infernal Iron Sworn moving in 50 and 70 melee attack and defense, heavily armored, heavily shielded. I don't know whether we can do too much about them. They're going to chuck a few of those naphtha bombs at our border mercs, and I think rather than standing there to get hit by the bombs, we're going to have to charge the border mercs in and face off against the Iron Sworn directly. Though I fear that without the ogres backing them up to dish out the damage, it's either going to take a long time, or the Iron Sworn might win that particular engagement. The biggest blob of enemies still fighting over on the right flank and have damaged some of our border mercs and some of our ogres as well. Though the ogres probably took that volley from the blunderbusses and are still not super happy about it. Elvira has moved in to help out on the right flank, moving of course where the fighting is thickest, and trying to help out her living pets. Alright, does look like the Infernal Iron Sworn have taken maybe 20%, maybe 15% damage. We're popping the Enfeebling Foe on them to lower their melee defense, though they still have 26, which is still decent. Everybody else is definitely embroiled in the fight, though we have managed to turn a few of the Chaos Dwarf Warriors in such a way that we are still able to fire a few shots with our Lamian border mercenaries and actually take advantage of their armor-piercing range instead of having to rely on their non-armor-piercing melee. Lovely. I do love the effect of the Dark Subjugation. It's a really nice effect of a spell. It's the opposite of that rat snare ability that the Skaven have, and that I really dislike that one and get annoyed whenever I see it. Whenever I see the Dark Subjugation thing, I think, oh wow, it's a very nice effect and actually adds a little to the atmosphere of the whole thing. Anyway, everybody's still fighting. Not much to say tactically, as the entire army has been engaged for several minutes now. We have managed to hit the Iron Sworn from several directions with several units, and they are down to about half HP, but damn if they haven't been holding a long time. Finally, the enemy right flank looks to be in trouble. We've also managed to charge a few more units through them and engage all the rest of the enemy blunderbusses, which means they are not firing away at us anymore, which was absolutely critical in terms of trying to win this battle. Looks like our crossbows are very nearly out of ammunition, and our cannons are nearly out of ammunition as well. 10,000 damage isn't horrible, considering how much of their damage is resisted by the enemy. And I'm just really enjoying watching the Iron Sworn fight. Alright, and it looks like another unit border mercs will hit the Iron Sworn in the back. Yeah, man, kick the Iron Sworn. That's going to work out well for you. I don't think you got enough power in those kicks to even slightly budge Chaos Dwarf or a regular Dwarf. At least of the heavily armored variants. But good luck to you, border mercs. They've picked up some bad habits acting as mercenaries, let's say. Anyway, Ironsworn may still be fighting, but we can't say the rest for too much of the enemy army. Looks like an enemy Sorcerer Prophet has been found by Elvira. We'll take a nice few hits from our limited ammo from our crossbows. And should be out of the picture relatively shortly, and in fact the entire enemy army will at last give up, and the battle will be ours. Now the Ironsworn, by the looks of it, held to the very last moment while everybody else shattered. A very good job to them, and very good job to several of the units of blunderbusses which were able to cause us something of a headache. Nearly ran out of ammunition on everything except for the Sky Lanterns, but that's hardly surprising. Frankly, Sky Lanterns should probably have basically infinite ammunition because they don't do enough damage to warrant ever running out of ammunition, essentially. Maybe it's done like that so that they can't be used for any cheesy purposes, because their range is actually quite a lot. If we check, at 275 range, they're not quite artillery range, but they're somewhere in between long-range missile infantry and artillery, which is pretty solid. It's just that they don't really do much damage. They are there to provide aura support, though, and I like them hovering over our army and providing range support for all of them and providing that additional missile resistance. Helped against those blunderbusses, I'm sure. Anyway. Hey, a Talisman of Preservation. I think you earned that one, Elvira. That was a pretty darn fun fight, wasn't it? I really, really enjoyed that fun, and I don't think it can count as my bias speaking if I say I'm going to really miss this particular army, despite the fact that it's a living army. And well, yeah, that's not biased because they're not vampire counts units. Well, sort of, but you know, it was a really fun one to use. We are going to... Oh, also, I love to see, as weird as it feels to be playing the Chaos Dwarfs at the same time and then fighting them in a different campaign. Confuses the brain there for a second. I loved seeing those Infernal Ironsworn hold ground. Still managed to rack up 35 kills and 113k damage, holding ground and holding back 3 of the units of Border Mercenaries, 2 from the front and 1 from the back. Slaanesh giggle, and yeah, that was good. Good for them. Anyway, I guess we have no choice but to heal up here because we are going to auto-resolve the next fight here, so we'll do so. And assuming that we are in range, and I think this is also their final territory unless I'm mistaken. Zombie Dragon for Elvira. You know what? She can have it because we could use another line anchor in this particular army. And we can battle a mission successful. Had a lot of ally missions for that. And bid farewell to their final territory. More damage, of course, than the actual fight. And a lot more damage to the ogres because presumably they're faster than the other units, which is probably why that happened. Anyway, occupy. Not that we really care about holding on to the place, but why not? Just occupy the place for now. Elvira seems amused. You know what? Maintain this for now, just in case these guys attack. They'll most likely besiege us next turn, but I think we'd suffer attrition anyway if we left, so why risk it, right? We can't get into any kind of anti-attrition thing. So whatever. Let them besiege us for the turn if they can, and if they do, they'll just get destroyed next turn anyway. Alright, anybody still have yet to move after Elvira and that great fight? That's certainly going to be a fight to beat. Count Orlok is supposed to be where he is. Ooh, I don't remember who you are. Werner von Walden. Oh, you're one of the various sort of recruiter lords in Sylvania in case somebody attacks us. Baron Steinhoff still needs to move. Martin Regak does not, and I think that's it. The blood banks obviously don't need to move, as they are helping out the land of the dead. That's Khemri, incidentally. 10,500 gold per turn, or dark magic per turn, whatever. Actually, you know what? Drakenhof here is not... You, sir, go here to Beckhofen. We'll just summon another lord and have them occupy Drakenhof without having to deal with it. Like so, you, for example. Recruiter. Go grab that. Next turn, I guess. And then we can grab Beckhofen, and then any further territory we'll probably just trade to the Ice Court. Now, they don't like a lot of the stuff that a lot of the factions that we're friendly with. It's not horrible, though. Frankly, a lot of our friends probably won't like it, but it's in the end of the campaign, so it shouldn't matter over much, as in I doubt that they'd betray us. At least in the 10 turns that it takes, and the campaign will be over in 10 turns, so it will hardly matter. Anyway, let's see what else we've got here. Although, let's see, it's dropping. Once again, they really need to do something about this UI. It's so irritating, A, not to be able to see what we're trending towards, because there's too much stuff going on. Just literally, it's as simple as adding one of those, the little thing where you click and the page goes up and down. The little scroll bar, is that what it's called? You know what I mean, right? Because this whole UI has been like that for ages, and it's always been silly. And I feel like I've read people complaining about it before, but it's odd that it's not one of the things that they fix. Not that it's a huge critical issue or anything like that, but it is annoying. Anyway, we're good otherwise. Here not moved, here Lord not moved, commandment, repress mortals as we do. In Shrek's lair, outpost upgrade available, we don't really care. And we do have some money remaining, but no. Go next turn instead. Let's see if Count Orlog gets attacked by the various Wood Elves that are currently awaiting in the fort there. And let's see, Crone Hellebron, you want a trade agreement. You're currently allied with Sigvald, and we're at war with Sigvald. This seems like an odd choice, but on the other hand... Oh wow, and they're willing to pay us a lot for this. Wait, just out of curiosity, 20, eh? Well, just out of curiosity, how much to break your agreement with the Decadent Host? 5.4? Why don't you do that? Yeah, good. Break your agreement with them, sign a non-aggression pact with us. The Ice Court's not gonna like this, but whatever. We're getting some Dark Elven friends now, I guess. Why not? It's not like we're going to be friendly with the Wood Elves after, or actually we are friendly with some Wood Elves, the High Elves. Do this. Wait, do they have any other kind of agreements with the... Okay, they are trading with the Decadent Host, and non-aggression with Nagarond is fine. Military access with the Decadent Host? Like so, minus 34. Ooh, they don't want to lose the military access. Alright, fine. Just do that then. Don't pay us money. We're fine in terms of money, let's just do that. Alright, let's hope that works out. And frankly, we could peace out with the Decadent Host if we wanted to. They're frankly too far away to bother us, and just look at the map. We own a big old chunk of the world, even if we don't count the... Hey, they will attack Count Orlok, nice. We own a big chunk of the world, even if we don't count all of our vassals everywhere, so, yeah. Alright, I'm happy with this. That's a somewhat concerning number of Glade Guard and such, but at the same time, most of our army has Stalk and Vanguard deployment, which is particularly nasty. I fear the corpse guards will be destroyed because we can't protect them, but it hardly matters as they're not really supposed to be in this army anyway, so go Count Orlok. Alright, here we go. Big old pile of Wood Elves for Count Orlok and his half Tomb King and half a ghoulish army. Should be pretty interesting, and if we manage to win here, if we manage to cast down Ariel once more, I do believe Durthu's faction will be pretty much destroyed, as this appears to be the last of his strength that's nearly spent. We're going to approach this in a manner that allows us to hit the enemy from multiple sides. We Vanguard deployed units from 3 separate directions, and they're going to try to corral and engage as many of those Glade Guard as possible. The Tomb Scorpions may be tanky and further tankier with that Ravenous Hunger, but they're not so tanky that they can take tons and tons of hits from any kind of range unit, including Glade Guard. Now, the enemy has a couple of War Dancers among their armies. We just saw, I think, I don't know if it was Twin Blades, I think it was Twin Blades, and I think they have a Nazare Spears in there somewhere else. So we do have to be careful, as they will probably obliterate any unit of ghouls, and frankly could probably easily obliterate a scorpion if they surround them as well. So gotta watch out for it. On the bright side, though, the ghouls are making their way quickly to the enemy ranks of Glade Guard and are overrunning at least a decent portion of the enemy army, but there are enough enemy units so as to force us to spread out quite a lot. Count Orlok is moving into a duel with Ariel, and okay, yeah, this is a Twin Blade variant of War Dancers, and there's an Azrae Spears out here. Alright, so, yeah, so we can see the Azrae Spears have killed 53 of this Ghoulden Horde unit of ghouls, but together with the Scorpion, looks like the ghouls do oh, ouch. Oh, the little Scorpion is sending them all flying. Anyway. Great fight from the Azrae Spears, but not great enough. Looks like, yeah, where Necro has also been fairly damaged, but is still trying to maintain position sort of in the center portion of our army to provide support. As well, we do have a couple of corpse carts in this army, which do need to be replaced by further Necros. They are very, very slow and have not yet moved in to provide support. Count Orlok is in the midst of a duel with Ariel in the center of the battlefield, and she's also at 40% of her HP, but it's probably going to take a while to bring her down. She will continue healing herself and her allies and probably casting other spells as well. And besides, the battle has only just begun as enemy reinforcements are moving onto the field, and without the enemy's first army yet destroyed and several of our units heavily damaged, we still have a heck of a fight on our hands. In fact, the balance of power shifts to the enemy's favor at about 55%. Good job to the enemy. We'll see about it, though. And Arrows of Kurnos coming in, and okay, I thought they were going to hit the ghouls, but it looks like they smack into the zombies, which works out and decently in our favor. Zombies can continue blocking off some of those dryads, and that's probably the best use of them that we have here, on blocking off enemy units that are better fighting in melee, because we've got other units. We've got our ghouls busy trying to go after the enemy range units. Count Orlok still very much in the fight against Ariel, who sends a Sepulchral Stalker flying back, and we do have to be careful about letting her attack the Sepulchral Stalkers. And it does look like the reinforcing range piles of units are targeting the Stalkers as well, so we'll have to be careful about that. One of the Scorpions is in the midst of a duel with an enemy Glade Lord, who is surprisingly actually engaging in melee. Usually these lords like to run away and fire off their bows rather than bothering, and maybe he's trying to do it but can't get past the Scorpion. I really got to tie up the rest of those range units, and we are going to move in more zombies and more ghouls to hit the enemy in the flanks, and of course summon the zombies with our Necromancer to try to get them to stop firing as much as possible. Especially since our Sepulchral Stalkers are a fairly fragile unit. Even with the healing, they're obviously not single entities, and we'll have trouble. Nearly 4 minutes in, probably 3.5 minutes of pitched dueling between Ariel and Count Orlok, and it's still taking quite a while. Probably could have been a little bit easier if we had that Terrorgeist mount for him, especially as Ariel is a large unit, and thus we'd have the benefit of the anti-large, but what can you do? Ooh, looks like the enemy Lord has managed to peel away from the Scorpion and launches another Arrow of Kurnos into the back line. I didn't see who it hit, whether it was ghouls or not. And we have at this point moved the Scorpions away from the enemy Lords and Heroes, just trying to help out against this massive blob of enemies. And because one of our Tomb Scorpions, this one, got heavily damaged, and down to about 20% of its HP by fighting the enemy Twin Blade Azrae War Dancers. Alright, fortunately though, it looks like Ariel is just about done. A sliver of HP remaining, and one more hit from Count Orlok will bring her down at last, which means, and instantly, as soon as Ariel falls, everybody in the enemy army breaks, and right on time, because this Tomb Scorpion was nearly done, and in critical binding as well. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. We saw our Necromancer nearly die, one of the Tomb Scorpions nearly die, a couple of the units of ghouls nearly did as well, but fortunately, unlike the single entities, they're a lot easier to heal up and bring back in terms of their numbers, so even the ones that lost a lot of their number fighting the War Dancers are nearly full HP again. Gotta love that invocation of Nehek, but we can still see sort of the effects of fighting the enemy army on the single entities and the constructs in general. Lovely. Lovely, lovely fight for this army. I've been enjoying this one as well. We did really come up with a lot of unusual army compositions in this particular campaign, didn't we? It was really fun. Anyway. Alrighty, there we are. A really, really fun fight. One of our Tomb Scorpions almost got destroyed. I love the extremely lengthy duel between Count Orlok and between Ariel. And once again, it's really nice to see this episode, I guess, in its entirety, our unusual armies fighting, whether it be the Living Army or this sort of Tomb King-centric army. Heroic victory for us. We took heavy damage on some units, but we dealt heavy damage as well. 32k damage, 35k damage on the Renfields, 32 on the Lovers of Flesh, they got plenty, and 36k on Two Ghoul for School. Very nice. Scorpions all hovered around 12k damage, and led by the Crypt Scorpion there. As for the Stalkers, let's see, it looks like the first one 24k but unnamed, managed to bring home the prize. Great job to all of them. And in the same way that we saw the Infernal Ironsworn do great work for the Chaos Dwarfs, we saw those War Dancers wreck face as well. Nearly 30k damage as well on the War Dancers with Twin Blades here, and I think there was another unit, okay, I guess that was this one, of War Dancers here as well. 8.5k, but that was with Azrae Spears, and the Twin Blades were obviously a lot better suited to what we were doing. And looks like Ariel got 25k damage on her own, which is fantastic, and I liked seeing how the entire enemy army shattered the instant that Ariel was defeated. I guess it's gotta be pretty demoralizing to see your god laid low on the battlefield. Anyway, dominate captives, please. We need heals, as we do still have that plague, and Fort Saul should be auto-resolvable shortly. The Wood Elves want a peace treaty. I don't see why we would. All of our allies kind of hate them, so no. Draika, you also want a peace treaty, don't you? I got nothing against you, Draika. I really don't. I mean, it's... yes. Why not? I love Draika. I feel like she will allow her to survive. Frankly, Wissenberg is part of Nuln, and Bloodkeep is there, which we would want for ourselves, but there's no real reason to destroy Draika. Who is she? Oh, she's not going to like a few of these alliances, but whatever, just peace out with her for now, whatever. It's the end of the campaign. Well, we can let her live. And what is this? Oh, little tiny... yeah, okay, you're good. Goodbye. Remnants of the Citadel of Dusk, which are now destroyed. Probably should have healed up instead. Anyway, Gilgallion wants a trade agreement. Huh? Are we not fighting all the other High Elves, dude? You're kind of betraying them, which is... well, I guess Mannfred can appreciate that, but... I would, but it's just making deals with factions that all of our allies hate is probably not a great idea, so... we can do the trade agreement with Grond, I guess, though. Oh, wait, do you want to maybe betray your trade agreement with the Decadent Coast as well? You do not. Well, then screw you. No trade for you. Stressleth wants a non-aggression pact. We'll just keep trading with you. No need for non-aggression. We kept you alive. Ellen Delling wants a trade agreement. We might be able to leverage that for a vassalization. Possibly. Not that it'll matter over much. Ally begins outpost construction. Ambush foiled for Nozert, unfortunately. Settlement besieged Karakazorn. That is not unexpected. And you can just auto-resolve the remnants of this force and not lose anybody, and then just heal up. We may not be able to get another battle going for Elvira, and that one was pretty good. Legion of Asgore and Clan Scryer both destroyed. Missions successful all over the place as well. Talisman of Preservation, I think that was one we signed. Hey, a Terrorgeist reward for Count Orlok, although I might keep him on foot. Not entirely sure. Corpse Cart for Recruiter, who frankly doesn't need it. Elvira, you don't need the Armor of Silvered Steel. We can get you something better. And Master Mason, Constructor, okay, everybody's doing stuff. There you go. Wait. We're gonna go for Invoke Animalistic Hunger for the Vargeist, but frankly we're using more Knights than we are Vargeist, so let's go turning Knightly Orders for the bonus melee attack, defense, and charge for the Knightly units. And these guys, by the looks of it, are actually running from Maugate, as it looks like they've realized that they have no hope of taking it. Gelt is advancing to Nongchang, unfortunately, which he might be able to take because... bizarre AI action as usual. This army used to be here and it backed off to Jiangxi, and I'm pretty sure one single army cannot take both this stack and the defenders of Nanchang, which are pretty darn solid. So just the AI doing weird AI things, as it has a tendency to do. Manny, you're gonna head over here. Rodrika, you were supposed to join Bathilda, unless I'm mistaken, and we are well on the way to Nagashazar. Now, Alistar the White Line, you, sir, are being quite irritating, because he wanted to attack Brienne and then he moved away as soon as the Red Duke got there, eh? Alright, John Doe, we're gonna have you defend the coastline. I'm gonna just hope that you can do it by yourself without the need to send more armies here, because the Red Duke has places to be. Speaking of, Isolt Regek, you are going to join the Red Duke's army, like so. Plenish troops. And Red Duke, oh, that kind of screws your movement, but whatever. You're gonna go back up this way. John Doe, you're gonna go down here to Brienne. As soon as he stops swimming, there you go. Then, Adrienne, you are going to do this. You are going to swap in the Blood Knight and trade out the second... I think this is the right one. I hope it's the right one. The second Necro, yeah. Because this army can do with just one Necro now that we have the Vamp, and I wanted the room for a couple more units in here, so yeah. Alright, speaking of the couple more units, I don't know whether we'll have time for them, but Recruiter currently has our two... go here. Our two legendary units, the Black Grail Knights and the Drakenhof Guard. They're too far from Mannfred at this point, and they could only be built in Khemri, our first tier 5 settlement, so we're going to try to get them to the Red Duke. I don't know whether they'll make it, but they'll give it a shot. Heinrich, you are going to the White Tower. So proceed. Gedon von Senkenhof and Bone Daddy. I'm not sure you guys are needed anymore. I guess we can march you up northward because we may... Okay, go this way. We might be able to send them to help out in Empire territories. It's a possibility at any rate. Go this way. Not that we're looking to take too much more territory ourselves. Count Orlok, you should be able to auto-resolve this now, yes? The Scorpion doesn't look like it will die, and let's hope that it won't. Alright, good. And you can just occupy the place. We'll trade it most likely, as we have no real need for it. Alrighty, and you have the Plague for one more turn. Let's hope it doesn't transfer to the settlement. And... yeah, I guess stay in the settlement and just hope that you don't transfer it. We can maybe... it probably won't have an effect, but try Harvest Corpses here. I mean, you should always be harvesting corpses, just like real life. Anyway, what do we have here? So, Belagar is back, but Wilhelm is moving towards him, and frankly, Belagar should have no chance of standing against him. We do have to be a little bit wary of him jumping down here to undefended territories, though I suppose, push comes to shove, we could just raise dead with Herman Wolfdrake. That's probably the way to do it, so yeah, we'll do that. And then Ludwig von Deal, you are going to grab Migdal von Galbarek, and... yeah, this is fine. Just gonna get you out of the way. Yeah, go take Migdal von Galbarek. I want to wipe out the Silver Road Dowie for good. And now, look at that, Drake's moving to Aberheim. I'll resolve this. Looks like she's trying to recover Occupy. Oh, lovely, lovely. Storm Necromancy as usual. Just out of curiosity, how much... well, she still hates us, but not as much as she used to. And Coadil, you better get into the army, because you're an insane unit, but don't just sit there. Ah, these frickin' plagues. Nurgle. Damn you, Nurgle. Anyway, Recruiter, go grab Nagenhof for us, for free, and then Baron Steinhoff, you can do the same thing. Occupy. Auto-resolve. We're out of Flaming Death, useless, Occupy. And you just keep it, I'm just not gonna bother with it. Alrighty, and Recruiter, you are not needed here anymore unless I'm mistaken. Oh! I didn't notice you. Damn, I should have gone this way to go after this guy. He's probably gonna reach Griffinwood. A bit of a shame. Might just to raise a blob of units here from a lord. Let's do... any free lords remaining? No. Okay, fine, fine. Rodrika's do Krugenheim will do you. And you can just raise... I don't even see... oh, we have a camp here. Oh, that's interesting. We could go for man-eaters with ogre pistols, should we desire it, and regular man-eaters. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Is there... Huh. Just out of curiosity. Oh, you can do that. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Giant pile of ogres. Why not? And I don't know, we'll give them some zombies as well. There you go. Zombies are free. Not like we care about the cash at this point. There you go, Rodrika. I'm sure you can defend Griffinwood in any way that you like. Repress Mortals here. Let's build up Nagenhof and let's build up Beckhofen as well. Lovely. Lovely. I was actually hoping to find a fight because, frankly, we are pretty much out of time. Do we have... Okay, you can't reach the Gates of Jar, so we'll be looking to do that battle with the... I guess this is the way that we travel. With the big old pile of Chaos Dwarfs there, with both of these armies together. As Wilmar, I'm excited to see the deck droppers and the sky lanterns and all of this and the zombie dragon stuff work together in concert, but we'll have to save that for next episode because I'm gonna call it here. I'll deal with as much admin as possible, and then when we get back, hopefully there will be some more battles to fight, and even if there isn't, we will... Go kill those. And even if there isn't, we can simply end the turn and find more battles next turn. So stay tuned for just a few more episodes as we head towards the end of the campaign. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.